All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my first episode of my new podcast. We're going to be starting off with a series called Life After Sports, where I interview former athletes and discuss their athletic careers and challenges that they face transitioning into the real world and how entrepreneurship is one of the best paths for former athletes to take. Today, we have a good friend of mine on. His name is Coney Durr. I'm going to let him explain a little bit more about himself, but a little bit about him is he spent some time in the NFL and XFL after having a great career playing in the Big Ten for the Minnesota Gophers. Last year, he decided to become a full-time entrepreneur, and he's seen a lot of great success since then. But that's enough for me. I'm going to let him tell a little bit more about himself. So, what's going on, Coney? I'm happy to have you on.
What's good, man? I'm happy you chose me to be on the first episode, bro. I feel honored, man. I feel honored.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, let's get things started. Can you kind of give us a little bit about your background in sports and what led you to transition into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, man. My name is Coney. I'm originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Started off like most kids in the South, growing up playing sports. My whole life I played baseball, football, but eventually, I knew football was something I wanted to do when I got to ninth grade, right?
Mhm.
Um, just wanted to lock in on one sport. Throughout high school, I idled a lot of guys. Really, one of my main guys I idled was Tyron Matthew. Transitioned to the defensive side of the ball, and then I kind of went into really grind mode. Long story short, I ended up having about 30 scholarship offers. Had a pretty good high school career.
Yeah.
Um, had a few. My top four was Kansas State, Minnesota, North Carolina, and Virginia Tech. I ended up choosing Minnesota because it was just a place that I felt like I could, um, boost my career after football. So
Yeah.
it was a place to where I know I could flourish. Once sports was done and once all the I hung the cleats up, and I definitely made the right decision because I was able to jumpstart my career into real estate with indulging in the real estate market there in Minnesota. So it definitely was an honor to go to school up there and make all the connections. And I just think all the skills that I learned over time just kind of just helped catapult me into this, new industry.
Yeah. That's good to hear. So I guess what like you said that you went to Minnesota. How was the transition from you going from playing ball to becoming an entrepreneur? Like kind of the life after sports part.
Okay. So yeah, man, my senior year, going into my senior year, I had a lot of time, right? I had just graduated. I had just did my finished my undergrad, and I was a year into my grad degree.
Mhm.
And I had a lot of time on my hand. I probably had one class at the time, so I got to thinking like, man, what I want to do if ball don't work. Man, I eventually, I connected with my friend. Well, we had always been in touch. This is my best friend, since high school, but we never really spoke on the business aspect of real estate until it really clicked for me in 2021 when I kind of realized what he was doing. This
Mhm.
guy had a penthouse with, all floor to ceiling windows. He
Yeah.
had the big body bins. I'm like, man, I'm trying to get like that.
Facts.
That's when I learned about wholesaling real estate while I was in school. And this was kind of right after the COVID period. So we still had, some hurdles when it came to that. But what I did was look, I was like, man, I'm about to lock in on just learning this information. So I locked in on for like a month, 2 months on learning that information. And I eventually got to work, man, and closed my first two deals. Um, going into my senior football season. So I had already kind of was starting that entrepreneur route.
Yeah.
I had made $30,000, in college in real estate, and I'm going to workouts, and telling guys I'm doing deals and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I had already kind of catapulted myself. I wanted to get a jump start ahead because I knew eventually I was gonna have to put the cliques down. So that's kind of how I got into the entrepreneurship route, and all of my friends kind of do the same thing. So we kind of, motivate each other.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. I think I was there when that happened. I think I was still at Minnesota and I remember you coming and talking about that. I was like,
Yeah,
that's
bro.
crazy. And
I
that's
was
kind of
telling the whole team, yeah.
yeah, and that's kind of how I found out about Abram as well, and then I ended up following him on Instagram. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. What would you say was the biggest challenge transitioning from sports to becoming an entrepreneur?
The biggest challenge I would say is basically, staying on task and scheduling out and having a plan, right? Because we so used to, and growing up playing ball, we got a schedule. When you're little league, you got to practice time, you
Mhm.
got to, workout time, you got everything scheduled, and you have to be at a certain place at a certain time, which as an entrepreneur, all that is put on you. Like everything is up to you, how you schedule it, what you're doing, how can you be most productive in this time. So you're basically structuring your own organization and putting people in the right places. So similar to how a head coach looks at hiring out people, training the players and things like that. So I kind of been modeling, how a head coach looks at a football team, right? So we got the OC here, we got the DC here, we
Mhm.
got the corners coach, we got the special teams coach. Every single aspect of the business works together to get to one goal.
Yeah, man, I've never really heard it put together like that. That's kind of a good way to, kind of correlate the two worlds, if
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense. So, I know that there's a lot of athletes that talk about having identity crisis and things of that nature after they're done playing sports. How did you navigate the emotional and psychological aspects of leaving your sports career behind? Because as athletes, that's our main goal is to go play professionally and make it to the
Mhm.
NFL and things of that nature. But whenever it doesn't happen, it's kind of like, damn, like what do I do now? Like I've been spending my whole life practicing and grinding for this, and then it didn't happen. So how did you kind of navigate the emotional and psychological aspects?
Yeah, so man, it definitely was tough. I didn't had anxiety attacks in the airport on the way to tryouts, all types of stuff, bro. Didn't get drafted, and it definitely takes a toll on you because I'm sure you're familiar with this. Like you always one of the best guys are always, hey, like I'm top tier. Like I went
Hmm.
D1, I did this, but it changes when you get to that that different aspect of life. So I would say the biggest thing for me, man, was family support. I had moved back home after things kind of didn't go my way, and in the XFL and Canada and things like that. So really family support, they lift me off the ground, and and close friends that helped me catapult my skills that I had already been building in college and just put them into place. So it was tough. It was a rough, transition, but
Hmm.
those first few months was rough. But we look at this shit like a sport now, bro. Like me and
Exactly.
my partners, like, hey, I got 50K, coming. Like, what you doing? So
Yeah.
it's like I'm going harder. So man, we just it's not a race, but it's a race.
Mhm.
Everything's a marathon. We want to stay consistent for as long as possible, but it's definitely a race, bro. We trying to be, financially free in the next 5 to 10 years.
Exactly. I like how you said it, kind of y'all treating it like sports because, for me, I kind of feel like entrepreneurship is like the best option for former athletes because like you get to be competitive and things of that nature. I don't think you really get that while working a job and being in a 9 to 5. It's kind of
No.
like, you don't want to do all that.
Yeah, and that was my biggest fear, bro. Like, cause I always looked at a job. So right, like going in the college, I was like, okay. And your parents, you probably heard this from your parents, is like you get a good job and like you're gonna be good. Like
Exactly.
everything gonna be good, but obviously the economy shift and we're in an entirely different world. So I looked at it as, hey, if I go to 9 to 5, bro, it's gonna take me 20 years to get this, like to get a raise at this price. I
Hmm.
mean at this salary. So I'm like, man, no matter how hard I work, I'm gonna still be in that, same spot. So I'm like, bro, if I could go hard doing this where I know I could make however much money, is out there, God willing, I'm gonna do that. If I could put all my time into something just like ball, like what you put in is what you're gonna get out. So it
Exactly.
ain't no surprise when you see success. It ain't no surprise when you see failure. If you know you grinding, you know what I'm saying, you know you're gonna get it on the back end. It might not be tomorrow, it might not be shit next month, it might be 3, 4 years from now, but you put in them that work, them reps, and that shit pay off, bro.
Facts, man. That's one of the things I've been like I kind of started to realize is you know, early in my journey is I'm trying to like rush it at like I was trying to rush it at first, but I'm like it took me all this time to work to be a high level athlete. What made me think that I'm just gonna automatically be a high level entrepreneur like that. You know, you have to put in the work and put in the reps for it, just like you
Like,
would in
yeah, I
sport.
try to think about it like this. Like, when we get the college, we like, man, I know how to play DB.
Yeah.
Like, I know the basics. Like, I'm sure when you first got in the credit business, you was like, okay, I learned the basics. Shit, let's hit the ground running. But
Facts.
it's so many more details that you didn't know yet. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
you've been learning over time that, hey, you just building them reps up. Now you starting to really see, all right, I'm seasoned. You know what I'm saying? I know this. I messed up on this. I could fix this next time. And that's kind of how I, been through the real estate game. So yeah, bro, that's kind of how I look at it, dog.
Yeah, yeah. So, are there any specific skills or values that you had learned from sports that you think are particularly beneficial in the business world?
I think, bro, at the end of the day, man, it really comes down to consistency.
Yeah.
You're gonna have bad days. That's how I had bad days, and you didn't want to go work out. You still gotta put them reps in, and you still gotta show up every single day, no
Mhm.
matter what. Like you gotta show up because if like we're in the process, both of us, we're in the process of building a business. If we don't show up, like
Yeah.
shit ain't
People
getting done.
don't eat. You feel me?
We
Like people
not
not
we
getting paid
not
all
getting
that.
fed, right? So,
Yeah.
and it ain't like we got shit. I know what I'm getting paid next week. Like, no, like, dude, I might close a deal. I might not get paid for another 3 months. So we in here really getting to it. And obviously you want to build that to where you're out of that seat and it works for itself.
Mhm.
But starting off, bro, like I said, consistency, and then you train those skills, and those values into your company, and then that's how I think real huge companies and corporations succeed, on that level.
Yeah. And we were talking about it earlier before the call had started. The consistency part. You don't really have a coach or your friends and teammates around you to really push you, so you kind of have to be the one to get up and like motivate yourself. So that's like another battle in itself. So I really do think that's important as well.
Yeah.
Let's go more into the business.
Mhm.
So how has your first year in entrepreneurship looked like? Like I don't know if you want to go into like the profits that you've made, how much you've made so far, and so like how's that been looking?
Okay, so just to start off, so I from January to December, we did about we grossed about 120,000,
In
but
December, or are you saying
no, for the entire year,
okay?
right?
Yeah.
But I didn't work. I wasn't really in the business for four of those months.
Mm-hmm.
So we really did that in 7, 8 months.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of how, profit wise, but over time, right? So I started off kind of me a one-man show like before, when I was in college, eventually hired VAs. I'm all virtual, so I had to hire a property specialist to go see the properties.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm in the process, well, the month before, so last month I was in the process of really, picking up my lead generation. How am I going to consistently get leads? So now I'm in the process of, hey, I need closers on my team because I don't want to be on the phones every single day having to get things done.
Exactly.
So the past really month, I've been coaching two of my acquisitions managers to really kind of take my seat. So it's kind of like I'm going up a ladder, replacing seats, replacing, seats, and really building a company around it. So, that's kind of how I'm looking at the consistency and really just, continuously to, hey, I want to have all these seats placed so I
Mm.
can work on the business, not in the business.
Yeah. That's something that I learned as well because whenever it's just you, is damn like a glorified job because you're putting in way
Yeah.
more hours than you even would at a job. So it's like the main goal is to be able to delegate those tasks to other people who are better at doing that so you can focus on, things like getting leads or just focus on what you're best at, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, bro. Delegating is big, man. And we could talk more about it down. I don't know if you got those questions in, but yeah, delegating is huge because I mean, even putting yourself at events and stuff like that, because I'm able to see like how are these guys running their companies like this? They're delegating tasks,
mhm,
and teaching them everything. And you feel like we so used to I feel like, man, I gotta do it or it's not gonna be right. I
mhm,
gotta do it, it's not gonna be right. Like it's never gonna be you. So it's your job to coach and teach those, your employees, hey, this is what we do, this is how we do it, and have them do it to the best of their ability, you know.
so I'm sure that you have had some doubts creep in and things of that nature. So how did you overcome those doubts and, kind of, get your mindset back on track to really, get things done?
Yeah, bro. So, I'll go back to this summer, man, and my friends could attest for this. So, I was in a hard financial place, leaving the CFL,
Hmm.
with really no money. I had kind of went through all my money because I wasn't working. I was just training.
Hmm.
And it was tough. So was a one-man show. Really just I was grinding every day, trying to needed to get a deal, needed to get a deal. I had came back home, back home with mom. She like, you said you get a job and stuff like that. I'm like, nah, give me 30 to 60 days
Yeah.
and I'll make some shake. So shit, in like 45 days, I think I closed like a 15K deal.
Yeah.
And shit, I was back in business. And then, obviously I invested a ton of that back into the business. But I
Hmm.
had some blows, between that. Like when I had that 15K deal just closed, I had another 30K like that we was working on, right?
Yeah.
And I was expecting that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good now. The deal fell out. It was assigned, earnest money, everything. The sellers just backed out at the last minute, bro. And that was one of the moments I was like, bruh, I'm like, damn, man. Like I did all this. I'm like, I was expecting that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
30K deals just don't fall on your plate. So yeah, that was tough, bro. But I mean, I like I said, I think you need those people around you to tell you to keep going and shit. We eventually, did a lot more deals and shit. We got a lot of shit done, man.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that from what I'm hearing, so really the entrepreneurship is more of like a mindset thing. Is like, do you feel that way or
Yeah,
I'm wrong?
it's all mindset, bro. Cause you gonna have way more L's than you gonna have dubs, but them
Thanks.
dubs gonna be sweet, bro. Like them dubs sweet because you take yourself to another level and you build that leather skin. So the shit that L you took is really not an L. It's a lesson learned. You know what I'm saying? It's a like, L lesson learned. So I mean, shit, you just get better off of that, bro.
Yes, sir. So, I got a few more questions for you, but I don't want to keep you too long. What are your goals for the next few years? And do you plan on just sticking with real estate or do you plan on, venturing out to other interests?
So my goals. So this year, my biggest goal was to completely delegate my virtual wholesale company.
Hmm.
And I know it's gonna take a lot of work, but we're on track to do it. So completely delegate that. I want to move. I haven't really chosen a place that I want to move, but I want to move to a market that I can, have my boots on ground and really, I want to get into like new construction and things like that. I mean, flipping is cool, but it's like flipping is a lot of it's a lot of risks, a lot of shit that comes with it. So
Yeah.
I have enough skin in the game as far as knowing how to analyze deals. Obviously I'm always a student of the game, but I really want to start pushing into new construction and things like that, over the next, I would say, 8 to 12 to 16 months. So it's really building that capital, becoming bankable,
Hmm.
just building a track for to be able to get that funding and really take down bigger deals. Now, as far as diversifying things, working on opening an event space. We had some hurdles there, but
I think I seen you post about that one
yeah,
time.
yeah, it's still in play. We ended up finding a better place and a better location. It
Mhm,
hasn't been developed yet, but the plans and everything, they're just waiting on permits to be pulled to complete the renovation of the place that we're going to be at. But we got that in play, and obviously, honestly, man, I really want to get back into sports some type of way. So, down the road, we'll see. But like I said, my biggest goal is automating this wholesale company.
mhm,
And I don't want to. It don't doesn't necessarily have to be a huge, big company. I just want it to be as efficient with low overhead, and
mhm.
we're consistently executing on a daily basis.
Gotcha. Okay. And then the last question that I have for you is, what advice would you give to a former athlete or anybody in general who's currently feeling lost and don't know what their next step is, um, just based on your own experiences from transitioning from being a high level athlete, playing in the NFL and college ball, and then being an entrepreneur?
My biggest thing, man, would be to find something that you're really, really interested in, something that you love. Or it doesn't have to be something that you love. I'll take that back. Find a field that you can make enough money financially to do something that you love. And to
Mm,
do that, I would say um look for mentors, man. Like I know a lot of these colleges have a ton of alumni that are doing all types of big things that you can reach out to. So seek out mentors and mentorship, because that's going to elevate you to the next level. Information is everything, man. Get
mm,
yourself in those rooms, go to events, go out and meet people at meetups. If you're in real estate, like, do you want to be in those rooms, man? Get yourself in the room. Get in the room.
yeah.
That's what I would say. Get in the room, and I mean, if you already got those skills, so you just translating that over into another vehicle, right? You did it in whatever sports you played in college and high school, NFL, but now we just translating those skills over to another vehicle, and we know how to, we just need to learn how to execute. We know how to, we hard working, we consistent, we resilient through tough things. We just need to learn that, vehicle those skills and those, stuff like that to take, to really, go into another career and take off that way.
Yeah. Yeah, well, man, I appreciate you coming on. We're definitely gonna have you back on like later down the road whenever I get more better with all this podcast and stuff.
Yeah, bro.
Growing our entrepreneurship journey. But give the people where can they find you? Do you have like any social medias that they can follow you on or contact you at?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at Coney Durr, so at CONEYDURR,
Hmm.
all together. So I'm usually on Instagram. You can check out my business page as well. It's in my bio. So yeah, that's where you can find me. Shoot me a DM if you want to chop it up or something. I'm always open to, people, chopping it up with people. So yeah, that's where you can find me at, man.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna let you get back to the rest of your day. I appreciate you for hopping on.
All right, my man.